Hi everyone, it's Oliver here and welcome back to another audio commentary for this podcast. Rob Hill, aka the Bad Movie Bible, is joining me to discuss Universal Soldier. How you doing, Rob? And are you looking forward to some Lundgren and Van Damme action?
Yeah, I'm good, man, I'm good. And I'm always looking forward to some Van Damme action and on the side some Lundgren, but Van Damme is my boy. I've always loved him.
My girlfriend would argue with that. She's all about the Dolph.
I can understand that.
She likes tall blonde men. Now, before we start the commentary, Rob and I have launched a new show over on Vimeo called Genredrome, where we take the commentary format into the video world, where you can watch us along with the film.
It's supplemented with on-screen trivia and little bells and whistles like that, and there are occasional special guests, like Stuart Ashen, who joins us for the prequel Star Wars trilogy, so steer clear of that one unless you like listening to three old men complaining about things.
That's the best part, isn't it? If you're interested in the show, you can find a link below. Now, folks, if you wish to sync up this commentary with your own copy of the film, start it from the very beginning of the Carolco logo and press play now.
The magic of the Carolco logo.
Oh, one of the greatest film idents ever produced. Obviously, wonderfully scored by Jerry Goldsmith and his orchestra and synths. Now, Rob, how were you first introduced to Universal Soldier? I mean, obviously, maybe a little bit too young when it came out theatrically, because at 18
Oh,
or 18.
for the cinema I was, but as you know, I was never allowed to go to the cinema anyway. But I was absolutely at the pinnacle of a Jean-Claude Van Damme obsession when this film came out. It was I missed Bloodsport. I don't know if I was a bit young for it or I just didn't notice it. But Kickboxer, when it was released on video, just changed my world. Honestly, overnight I was just obsessed with that kind of early 90s American martial arts movie, which is kind of some people love and some people hate, and I've got a real soft spot for it. But by the time it got to this, and Van Damme was like a big star, and obviously they've roped in Ivan Drago, this was so exciting to me when this movie came out.
Yeah, for me, it was, I suppose, a similar experience. I think around this time, I was sort of beginning my obsession with Van Damme, maybe to sort of come 93. Actually, when this came out on tape, I suppose, in 93, it did sort of kick in. But when I recall seeing the TV spots for this and thinking, wow, two action stars in one movie, you know, as a young lad thinking that's like, kind of like the equivalent of a Stallone and Arnold in one movie, and it's Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. I couldn't believe it. And obviously I had to wait quite a while because it's 18 rated in the UK, so I had to wait for it to either for your dad to rent it and sneak in, kind of like sneakily watch it, or wait for it to be on like Sky TV or Sky Movies, where they always advertise it for a long period of time. It was repeated constantly, and I was kind of won over. I thought it was just a perfect movie for like that age range, I think.
Yeah, I do remember being a little bit disappointed that there wasn't more martial arts.
True.
It was this it's what all martial arts stars do, it seems, is that they start off playing martial artists in martial arts movies, and they inevitably then transition to either policemen or soldiers.
They do,
that's just what they do, and then they start making more generic action movies, and that's something Van Damme really nailed, because he's not really made. He's probably made 2 or 3 proper martial arts movies since this.
Well, yeah, because he was very much adamant on trying to do a mainstream movie, not be cornered into doing tournament films over and over again. And he was smart about it and chose the right movies to sort of push his career forward. Dolph is kind of a weird one because he had, big success with Rocky IV, but even though he was a villain, didn't have many speaking lines, and then playing He-Man, The Punisher, Red Scorpion, and I think around this time, just before this was I Come in Peace, but all the kind of movies that didn't really perform well. And Van Damme was kind of on the up, and Dolph was kind of on the decline box office wise. But this kind of again would elevate Dolph's career for a little bit, but then it will sort of peter out theatrically.
And I mean, we know why. If we're honest, we know why it is.
Don't say, Rob.
Even by Van Damme standards, he just can't act, can he? I mean, let's be honest. So, like, he was punching way above his weight, if you excuse the pun, with Rocky IV. And after that, he kind of seemed to decide that he's now one of the biggest action stars in the world. In that, Last Action Hero's book, which I don't bring up too often in your presence, but in that book, he's quoted as saying around this time in the early 90s, there's really only 3 or 4 of us, like me, Stallone, Schwarzenegger. There's only a few of us who can do these kinds of movies. And it's like, oh, that's, yeah.
Well, Dolph's acting started getting better from, I believe, like from I Come in Peace, and then to this, because he's pretty good in this as the villain. He's very, a lot more animated.
If he's in the right role, then the acting isn't a problem, and usually he is. I really like I Come in Peace, and in this he's fine because he's meant to be this kind of one-note lunatic, so that's all good. But I thought it was interesting, during my research for this, I discovered that Ralph Moeller, or Mueller I think it's pronounced actually, the bodybuilder who's in this movie is one of the Unisols, and he's best known probably for Gladiator.
And Best of the Best 2.
And Best of the Best 2, which will come up again.
Electric Boogaloo.
But he, apparently Ridley Scott got it down to Dolph Lundgren and Ralph Mueller for the role in Gladiator. And he went with Mueller because he thought he was just a better actor. He said Dolph just can't act. He looks great, but he just can't act. And that's kind of funny when you think about it, because Dolph Lundgren, he's a big name, relatively speaking, back then. Ralph Mueller, that guy in the background in some movies.
I don't think he has many lines in Gladiator either to justify that he was a better actor.
No.
It's kind of interesting. Maybe a better build, maybe at the time. I remember, from the notes I'd written down about the making of the movie, this was all on a golf course.
Yes, yeah, in Arizona, and weirdly, it's right by where they shot all the the road scenes in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which I only bring up because it's one of my favourite films.
Oh, masterpiece that is.
The whole journey to Vegas was filmed on a stretch of road right by where they shot this.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And Michael Jai White's in this, but I think we've missed him, haven't we? He flashes up here very briefly.
Yeah, he basically says, "Let's get the fuck out of here," and then he sort of disappears, and then he'd return in the sequel, which Michael Jai White did discuss a couple of... It's fairly recently how bad the film was, and he sort of didn't want to give people the impression he thought the film was good, and because he discusses a little bit in my documentary, but he didn't really offer like his personal views on it. It was just like, I was in this, sequel, which, as we all know, kind of was a hilarious disaster,
Oh, God.
in its execution.
I saw that in university. It's the only video I remember renting so really clearly at university and just being shocked by it. I did go back to it, though, recently, and I've got a funny feeling I'd completely forgotten that I'd rewatched it when I mentioned Universal Soldier recently in a RoboCop video. And I've got a feeling I probably just completely wrote off The Return. And then I registered recently. I remember, I rewatched it and it was hilarious. With a different perspective and 20 years down the line, it is really funny.
Is it a bit where Goldberg jumps off the thing? Is it Goldberg? He says, "Oh shit!" He misses the vehicle.
That well.
Yes, some good stuff in that. But in terms of comedy, but it is hilariously bad. And the last of the Van Damme films that got released theatrically for a very long time.
Until JCVD, I think. Yeah.
Yes, that was the one that kind of mostly released in art theatres
in Europe.
Really.
Yeah.
But this was originally going to be directed by Andrew Davis, whoever sort of bowed out, and the script was all, because the story was kind of set in South America, and Roland Emmerich was in the offices of Carolco, and he was offered the Universal Soldier, and he wasn't interested because he thought the script wasn't very good. But then he would get Dean Devlin, his colleague, who he would work with maybe for the next decade, he was involved with Moon 44, the previous production, which is basically a Blade Runner ripoff, kind of with other films plagiarized. But they kind of rewrote the whole thing, and this is what we got. I was always kind of blown away. I'd never seen, obviously, a plane that is that huge as a kid, but also seeing a lorry when it gets out, when it sort of departs the plane. I thought, I've never seen anything that big before. It's so American.
Do you know what that plane's called?
No.
It's called a mini guppy because it's got a much bigger brother, believe it or not.
What?
And yeah, it's freakish, isn't it? Apparently this is the only film to ever feature a mini guppy. So there you go. That's a bit of trivia.
Wow. Now we do get to see Chuck Norris's son, don't we?
Yes, Eric Norris. I'd completely forgotten about that, actually.
I know, so did I. Completely, yeah. He looks nothing like his father.
No, well, you can kind of
if he had a
tell if
beard.
someone says, but... So is he, I can't remember now, is he one of the actual... He's one of the unisols, isn't he? He's not one of these army guys.
Yeah, he's definitely a unisol.
The lesser ones, because they're kind of in tiers, aren't they? You've got, like, obviously Van Damme and Lundgren at the front all the time, and then you've got, like, Ralph Mueller and Tiny Lister, and then there's just the vague kind of undefined ones at the back, and he's one of them.
They're all kind of all different shapes and sizes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Surely unisol should be over 6 foot. Got some small ones in there.
Is there an on-screen title saying 25 years later? Because that's something that I never really grasped when I was a kid, obviously not really knowing when Vietnam was. I remember being shocked to learn that it was like 25 years, a quarter of a century had gone by. What are they doing? Where have they been for the last 25 years?
Yeah, just been... Obviously, once that Vietnam sequence ended, they were getting, put on ice, weren't they? So there's already this plan to reanimate these dead corpses.
We're just going to spend 25 years doing it.
Yeah, basically.
That's Eric Norris, wasn't it?
There we go. Yeah.
It's a great cast, this, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant.
You've got, I mean, the kind of the officials as well. Was that J.T. Walsh actually?
Oh
no, it's Leon Rippey, isn't it? Leon Rippey. I'd completely forgotten he was in this as well.
We got the guy behind Dolph who was in Friday.
Tiny Lister. He's always Friday to me as well. Most people think of...
Was it the president from The Fifth Element?
I don't know. Something that isn't what I know. But yeah, Friday and Dracula 3000. They're my go-to movies for Tiny Lister. He's also in Blast, which is like a crime, like a Die Hard rip-off type movie, basically, that finally pairs Eddie Griffin, Vinnie Jones, and Breckin Meyer.
Oh. Well, everyone's want list, isn't it? Now, what other movie features the Hoover Dam? There's 2 others, I think. Transformers, the Michael Bay, and Superman the movie, when it gets blown up, doesn't it? In the earthquake. But it must be others that feature
Oh,
it.
there'll be a bunch.
Well, this was supposed to take place in a different location, wasn't it?
Well, the original script, it wasn't even a dam. This whole scene was an aeroplane, like a hostage hijack rescue or something.
That's right, and they sort of said, "Oh, we've seen that too many times as of late," and Hoover Dam just gives it its scope, doesn't it? Because it makes it look like a bigger movie.
Exactly, you get so much value for money out of a big dam, don't you? It's instantly just money's on the screen. Strangely, though, not strangely, but something I didn't realise till recently, researching, was how much they had to rewrite this movie after the Gulf War, because historically, well, certainly in the 70s and the 80s, the American military were generally painted in a fairly negative light in mainstream movies. There's kind of holdover from Vietnam. I think they didn't have the best image in a lot of ways. But then after the Gulf War, that did a 180, and the military were all heroes again. And they had originally been much more villainous, the military commanders in this. So, for example, this scene at the dam was completely staged. They were mercenaries that the military had hired to play terrorists in order to justify the Unisol program. So it was basically a scam.
Wow. I like that idea because it gives an extra level of mystery to the kind of story, a bit more intrigue. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. It's another angle, isn't it? It's another dimension rather than just doing it the obvious way. And it also makes them even more sympathetic because, the Unisols, because, in that Frankenstein way that, it's kind of natural to empathise with people like Van Damme in this situation. And if they're even more of a victim, if they're even more of a a military complex's plaything, then that's even more sympathetic.
We've got Chico there from Running Man. Chico, no! I love the Art Deco design. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's a set, isn't it? I think most of the interiors are a set.
Because they shot all this during like with a huge amount of tourism going on, the wrong part of the year, so you had to sort of, they called massive like pile-ups in traffic jams.
Well, that'd be pretty cool, getting to visit Hoover Dam and Jean-Claude Van Damme's, like climbing up the side of it.
Oh, she gets sacked now, doesn't she?
She's an interesting character. I always had a crush on her, actually. It's just really, really, like, kind of something really wired and dynamic about her performance. And I do like the fact she chain smokes as well. I miss people smoking in movies.
She's got a bit of a husky voice, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Because of the, I don't know if that's if she does naturally smoke in real life, but she has a slightly smokier voice, doesn't she? I love the setup to this. It's really good. Look at that Dolph is sweating his balls off. Look at that.
It's all shot in just the hottest parts of America, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're wearing these outfits where they can barely run in. Like they were just so padded. Like it was difficult for these bodybuilders, basically, and martial artists to run around in. Because they're all pretty big. They're not like skinny buff, are they? They're just like not shredded. They're all just like huge, trying to run around with all this gear on, and it's like 40 degrees Celsius.
And Tiny Lister, speaking of the gear, Tiny Lister, they gave him the eyepiece for his good eye. Have you heard that story?
No.
He turned up for filming on the first day. Right, put your eyepiece on. So he put his eyepiece on. He's like, I'm blind in one eye, and it's not the eye that this thing's covering. So he could have had to put him on hold for a couple of days while they figured it all out.
We'll just flip the shots.
Apparently this is the Australian technique for abseiling downwards.
Really? Oh. I do love the when you see the video quality of their little eye cameras. This is like a crappy video game, like full motion video, Sega Mega CD graphics. I love Van Damme's punch. There you go, that's good. Neck break. That is good. Oh man, I was so. When I first saw this, I was just like, couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's kind of weird. It's like because they were such popular action stars at that point, and they're just kind of seen as gods. And then you see them both in one movie. I just like, this is like the perfect film.
They were still B stars though, really.
Well, yeah, but when you're young though, you just sort of see them as
you
sort of idolize them in some way.
It's like an Andy Sidaris movie. All workmen arrive looking like the most buff, weightlifting military type people imaginable. Everyone's just meant to go, all right.
And Ralph just gets shot constantly throughout the film. He's good at wearing squibs, isn't he?
We seem to be watching a lot of films at the moment that involve people who can't die getting machine gunned. In 1 week, I think we've done
Highlander 2,
Highlander 2, Life Force, and now this. All of which feature exactly the same scene.
I wonder what the original concept was for this, because with their rewrites, it was. I'm not sure if the original idea was that it was essentially a chase movie, because what this film is basically a chase movie that would ultimately be criticised for copying the Terminator, which Carolco had produced, because they're not Terminators, at all, but this has very similar elements, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, there's similar elements, obviously, but it's the tone is so different and the style is so different, and it's dealing with such universal concepts and tropes that I don't know. I don't feel like this really owes the Terminator much. RoboCop, on the other hand,
Yes, yes. That would undermine your video, wouldn't it? If it was Robocop related.
No, it's only a bit of Robocop, but it's that whole thing of agent is killed, agent is brought back as a superhuman with memory wiped, memories start to return, and then that leads to a kind of an existential exploration of, well, in Robocop it does.
Do you think these memory flashbacks happen too quickly into the movie?
That's a good question, isn't it? Yeah.
Because they do a mission and it's successful, but that mission is already kind of faltered a little bit because one of them's already had a flashback. So they've only been used where the public can see them in action, so to speak, and something's gone slightly wrong.
Well, and also Dolph Lundgren has already shown psychopathic tendencies because after incapacitating that guy, he then killed him, which Van Damme didn't do, and it sparked a reaction inside the trailer. That guy, I love that line. Like, homeboy's starting to like this shit. It's like that would be in real life. That would be enough to get him decommissioned and, a full
hearing. you know.
This is a cool location. It's one of these. I can't remember what they call them. So they airplane graveyards is the slang term, but there are a few of them dotted across the Midwest and southern states. And actually no, it's not here. It's in a minute. It's the place they fly to, but it's like 10 times the size now than it was when they filmed here.
Bloody hell! I mean, they often go there just to buy a plane they're going to blow up, and you can buy it dirt cheap. I mean, that's the same. I think there's a similar situation in Speed, where they got this giant jumbo jet for like 20k, blew it up. People think, wow, that would cost a fortune. Well, just goes to one of these graveyards. Look at Tony Lister's boobs. They're huge.
Edo Ross there. This is Edo Ross was one of those figures to me. Like, I never knew his name, but he seemed to be in every other movie that I saw as a kid. We've got Lethal Weapon, Red Heat, Another 48 Hours, Action Jackson, Full Metal Jacket, Dick Tracy. There's like a 5-year period where he's in every genre film ever made.
Yeah, he's sort of, he was getting a lot of gigs, wasn't he? Big gigs.
Red Heat must have been a real, because he's like the main villain in that, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. It's a Walter Hill movie. He's always good at playing just shouty people, isn't he?
Yeah.
Dean Devlin said everyone cringed when the needles come out because no one likes needles. I always like, oh, back of your neck. They get pumped with Mountain Dew, some sort of green stuff.
Yeah, some kind of what appears to be some kind of steroids, which obviously Dolph injected in Rocky IV as well. Get himself a reputation. Oh yeah, Tiny Lister's massive, isn't he?
I remember being very, very disappointed when I went to my local video shop, which also rented out video games, and there was a Universal Soldier video game for the Sega Mega Drive. I played it and I recognised instantly it was another game just reskinned and just called Universal Soldier. It was a game based on Turrican 2.
Oh, I've read this, yeah.
Turrican was a great game for the Commodore 64 and Amiga, and then they just reskinned it, and you're playing as, obviously to change this kind of robot-like character into Van Damme's character, and you're just jumping around these kind of weird levels, and then you come across Dolph Lundgren, who is this ginormous boss bouncing up and down, and you're like this big, Rob, like tiny, and Dolph's this big. It's like, it makes no sense, and it's it's a piece of shit. I took it back instantly. Can I trade it for something else? I don't want this.
Have you heard the ice story about this movie as well? How it all came from a 7-Eleven?
No.
The guy there being put under ice reminded me. They bought, so there's a lot of fake ice involved, obviously, but they obviously mixed that in with real ice. And they were just they'd just go to the 7-Eleven every day, buy all of its ice, and then go back. And the manager ended up being like sent on a like an all expenses paid VIP trip to the town where the ice company is based that 7-Eleven buys their ice from. He sold so much ice, he was treated like a hero and given a tour of the ice factory. And like, surely there would have been an easier way to acquire ice in quantity than going to 7-Eleven every day.
It's like in The Simpsons, they go to the Arctic, don't they?
Yeah, there's got to be an easier way to get ice.
Bobo.
But I suppose they couldn't have used real ice a lot of the time because it's just going to melt and freeze the person lying on it.
That ice is very much like the ice you find in like slush puppies.
That's not real, is it?
You know what I mean? It's like, it's more like the ice I get is all big chunky ice, isn't it?
Mm.
Get running, Lois Lane. She's a bit of a Lois Lane character, isn't she?
She is, isn't she? God, yeah, because does Lois Lane smoke in the original movie? Because she clearly is a smoker.
Yeah, Margot Kidder smokes in 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm happy to say this is based on that then. Very similar character.
Oh, yeah. She's got all the traits of Lois, hasn't she? And she's got her own Jimmy Olsen with her as well.
Yeah.
He's now dead, I think. No, he gets shot in a minute, doesn't he? Because they put him in the exact same positions, and then it triggers Van Damme's flashback.
She is quite funny, isn't it? And there is a lot more humour in this than I remembered from way back in the day.
Just sort of Roland Emmerich had said like they were sort of criticised for the film being unintentionally funny, and they go, no, it was on purpose. We made it funny.
He mentioned that in the commentary
because they said people, if a general audience need to be entertained, and to entertain them is to have comedic moments, and they littered them as much as they can, and that's why they were very impressed with Van Damme because he sort of, could do the comedy quite easily.
I think he's absolutely brilliant at comedy in this movie. Everything he does that's meant to be funny totally lands. And he underplays it as well. It's all really understated.
It's all in the face and reactions he does.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
And that's a lot of, that's the director and him working well together, isn't it? Because he does, I mentioned this in the Robocop video. To me, this is the first time Van Damme really had to do that kind of acting, that fully rounded, slightly comedic, also serious, also emotional. Also, like Kickboxer, he did some jokes, but he was rubbish at it. But in this, everything is great.
Yeah, because in things like Lionheart, or AKA AWOL, his character's not written to be amusing. He's a guy who's out to, protect his brother's ex-wife or whatever, his bereaved wife. Sorry, so. In this, he has so much more of a sort of a larger canvas to sort of show his acting chops, isn't it? And then you follow that with Nowhere to Run, working with what's the gentleman's name? He worked with he directed The Hitcher.
Was it not John Woo? Oh no, John Woo did Hard Target, didn't he? I start to get hazy around then. I felt I was too grown up by that point to be watching Van Damme.
Yeah, there's certain things where, like Hard Target, Nowhere to Run, things get made and things get delayed or like released a bit later. So it's a sort of weird sort of.
Death Warrant, I think, was made a couple of movies earlier, but they hung on to it.
Yeah,
you're going to be a star, so we'll hang on to this.
Well, it's kind of like, that was a 1990 film, so that was a bit delayed. I think it was a Canon feature that went to MGM.
What are you talking about, man? Let's go. Hit it.
Because Roland said like the character or the unisols essentially all just take instructions, so they had their sort of memorized instructions in their head which they just follow. So as soon as he's got an instruction from his superior, he stops. So as a kid, when they Argos catalogue, they had a thing called a Sega lock-on gun. Like this laser tag, like laser tag, Rob. We've all done Laser Quest, whatever. But it had this piece you go on, fits on your head, it's got a glass bit here, right, a little visor, and you got a gun. And I was like, fucking hell, man, you can cosplay as Universal Soldier now. Even though it's all blue and it's got Sega all over it, but fuck it.
Do you know what? I might have had that. I don't remember it being Sega, but when I was my first year at university, we all bought those laser tag guns, and they were blue, and they had an eyepiece.
Yeah, that's it.
With like an LCD number that projected onto the eyepiece, so you could like reflected on it, so you could see it.
I think they did re-release them. I think the first wave, I recall, were the Sega ones, but yeah.
Do you really think for 1 second those wimps at the Pentagon would allow the regeneration?
Leon Rippey there in the glasses. I'm a big fan of him because of Deadwood, one of my favourite TV shows.
Like I say, I haven't seen him in much else. He must have been tons of stuff I've just kind of forgotten. He's one of those sort of supporting.
He looks quite different quite quickly, if you know what I mean. That's why I thought it was J.T. Walsh for a minute. I'd completely forgotten he was in it. But he's in Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, he's in Young Guns too. He's in Moon 44, hence why he's in this.
I think he's in a few Emmerich. There's quite a few actors in this who Emmerich's, kind of got in his touring company.
Yeah, Stargate. It's interesting with Emmerich because Universal Soldier then follows up with Stargate, another Carolco picture. Kind of, different movies. And then come Independence Day, and huge success he has with that. Him and his writer, Dean Devlin. They would just kind of follow that formula, wouldn't they? That structure of a script, these type of characters, and how they interact and what they do. They maybe change slightly, but you see this familiar tropes in all of them throughout Godzilla, The Day After Tomorrow, etc. I mean, The Patriot. I've not actually seen The Patriot.
I've never seen The Patriot either, and that seems to be a kind of a standout movie for Emmerich. It seems a little bit of a different type of thing.
Yes.
But yeah, all that happened is he just seemed to increasingly incorporate some kind of ginormous disaster. Whether it's, Independence Day, obviously, Godzilla, obviously, 2012, it's all Day After Tomorrow. They've just kind of nailed a disaster to this character profile.
Yeah.
Stargate's an odd one, though. Is that a movie? That's one of these movies that everybody just accepted and knew was rubbish at the time. But 20 years later, it's one of these films that seems to have been reappraised. And I noticed on Letterboxd, the ratings are really good for it.
Yeah, I always kind of enjoyed Stargate. I loved its premise, but it has such a boring middle act. Once they encounter the local people, it just becomes a bit of a drag. And you got Kurt Russell, who is like, you hire him to be like charismatic and funny and a hero, but he's just a military guy who's depressed throughout, and he's got this suicidal complex to him, and it's like, you're not using Kurt to the fullest. This is not. You don't hire Kurt to do that, But I love the, even though it's bollocks about aliens, creating pyramids and stuff. It was a cool concept. But I think maybe the TV show had sort of maybe got people to reevaluate, because the TV show was far more popular. Well, went on for ages, but the film was big though. Stargate was a big movie.
It was big, but considering the hype. It was set up to be that year's massive blockbuster.
Star Wars of the 90s or something.
Yeah. No, that was Battlefield Earth. John Travolta literally said that.
Oh my God. Egotistical maniac. I love this stuff here. This is brilliant with the
it's really good comedy.
The owner of the hotel.
He's such an arsehole.
Yes. Charge him for everything.
Yeah, I don't like cats either.
What? I love cats. It's a shame she didn't return for the sequel, but I think she probably read the script and went, nope. But she did sell her likeness so they could use a picture of her.
She was, the official line is that she was unavailable. She was on another project. But
really, really
I'd have
busy.
thought she'd have come back, because her career didn't exactly flourish, did it? As far as I'm aware, anyway.
She was doing what? Welcome to Hollywood in 1998, and then 99 Happy Texas. I mean, I'm sure she must have been free. Now, she's got a few stuff. They got about 4 things going on in 1999 when they made it. So I don't know.
I do like that truck.
It is cool, man. I swear half that stuff probably can't fit in there. Like, I don't know. It still looks, even though how big it is, but when you see the interior, it seems a little bit too wide.
It really did extend out like that, though, and it was apparently it was all built out of fiberglass, and it could extend itself in a relatively like you see in the movie. I love this look.
He's boiling.
Oh, we mustn't forget he did do comedy in Monaco forever.
Oh yeah, but he's
playing
like
the gay karate expert.
That's right, yeah. There was a VHS double bill with that movie and that sleazy Stallone film from the 70s, maybe.
Party at Kitty's or something.
Yeah, and I remember because I had all these one on the stand, how these Van Damme films, and I grabbed that one because I didn't know what it was, and he only goes, "Oliver, you don't want that one. It's rubbish." I'll take Death Warrant, please.
Oh, I love Death Warrant back then. I've not seen that one. That and Double Impact I've never rewatched since my teenage years.
I watched Double Impact recently. It's a lot of fun, but it's a bit sluggish. But Van Damme's bum. But Roland would have loved shooting that, wouldn't he? Well, I know when he stumbles out, man, he's wearing socks. And the guy's like, the owner of the hotel is like, what the hell? Oh, she's getting framed, isn't she?
This is such a 90s trope, isn't it? Journalist sees that she's been framed on the television.
Yeah, the military has stepped in and just sabotaged everything.
She was thought she was going to have to jump through all kinds of crazy hoops before she got cast, and then Emmerich said, "Well, we just need Van Damme's approval," and she was really worried about it and she didn't know what to do. And apparently, he just walked into the room, said, "Yes, she's fine," and walked out. Didn't even speak. Must have had a different casting couch to get to, I reckon.
It is essentially a cheesy B movie with some, that looks great because it's not a movie with loads of visual effects, is it? It's mostly in camera stunt work and
practical,
and there's a few miniatures when the lorry goes off the side of the cliff, but it just looks very slick, doesn't it? That's the thing. I love the look of the film.
And the budget wasn't that big. What was it, 23 million, I think, or something? It's not ridiculous.
Very modest for the time. Well, there's 23 million, it says. There's a random piece where it says Carolco was sort of hoping this film would do well because they're in a bit of financial issues.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, this is like 1992. They just had successful Total Recall and Terminator 2. What are they spunking their money on?
Well, that's what they do, isn't it? That's what these studios do.
So much coke they've sniffed up then. I don't know. It's like...
In the commentary with Emmerich and Devlin, have you seen it?
They don't say much throughout.
They don't say an awful lot. But at the beginning, as it's starting, they're just sitting there going, every logo that goes by, they just go, yep, they're out of business. They're out of business. They're out of business. Something else it's got in common with Terminator. Everyone involved and its sequels is now out of business.
It's mad, isn't it?
Has Van Damme put his clothes back on yet? I don't know whose arse I'm more familiar with, Jean-Claude Van Damme's or Linnea Quigley's. Like, growing up, every film I watched seemed to have one arse or the other in it.
Yeah, he gets his bum out and everything. When we were watching, we were watching Time Cop in 4K, and Van, also there's a sex scene in it at the beginning, and because it's in 4K, you can see all the hair on Van Damme's arse. And Natalie goes, "At least he should have shaved his arse before he did this shoot." You never saw it in like standard definition or Blu-ray. Then 4K, you can see he's got a hairy bum.
Oh, there he is.
Because he is smooth in Universal Soldier.
I love this.
On the waterbed, it's so funny.
So good. That is like the director deserves as much credit for that as the actor. I mean, I suspect
sure.
Van Damme would have done something rather larger.
So Dean Devlin had created this little mini documentary here that Van Damme watches.
It's not. It's nice. It's good because it's a nice little touch because you see Nixon as he would have remembered him, and then it cuts to Nixon then as an old man, and then straight in the mirror. It's a nicely done little. Oh wow, a lot of time's passed. It's better than having a scene where he goes, "Oh, I don't even know if I fit in anymore, and I'm old." And
Yeah, for sure. He's like, I haven't aged a day.
like McLeod.
Exactly. I love all that green neon. That's great.
Yeah.
Something really weird is going on around here. None of the phones in this entire hotel work. I mean, there hasn't been a storm.
So was this Roland Emmerich's first American movie?
Yes, it was.
Because it's always described as being, but because he had made a couple of English language movies prior to this, and at least one of them for an American studio. But I guess they were shot in Europe, were they, presumably then?
Yes, yeah, they're German productions generally, but he had done, well, because I mentioned Moon 44, but he did something else before then. I think it was like Hollywood Attack or something of that name. Let's have a look. Hollywood Monster, sorry, in 1987. Which it's German production. But again, it's I think it's got Jason Lively in it, Jill Whitlow, but Paul Gleason. So yeah, these sort of movies that you have to sell to a Western market, you've got to have them speak English.
Exactly. Yeah. So he unlike say Verhoeven, he was making movies with one eye on the West, well, one eye on the English speaking nations.
I love that bit. She goes, "Come on in." Run through the wall, and he just looks at her like, "Are you kidding?" He's like, Dolph does look fucking great when he's holding that gun.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren was born to hold a gun that big. Yeah, it is. All the others have got it over their left eye, haven't they? I
it's
think.
over his right. Yeah. Someone should do a fan edit. Just add loads of Robocop servo sounds when they move. Oh, when he grabs the key, he's under the cover. So he goes, "Thank you." His face. Oh, that's great.
So that tells us unisols are idiots as well, doesn't it, really? Because there would have been a massive, great big pile of bodies at the bottom of that bed then.
Of course, yeah. And that bed was not a Super King bed. It's interesting actually because they've taken a really old school car from like the 1950s, and you got that, and the hotel itself has that sort of 1950s vibe to it. I kind of like that.
Do you know what? There was another 1950s car parked at the side of the road as it drove off then as well. I wonder if that was some kind of like 1950s film set being used for another movie that they then hijacked.
Yeah. I think, didn't they... I'm sure they said when they filmed its location, a lot of it was run down. And so they built their own sets. Which kind of makes sense where they can smash through stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause it's all if you look at the hotel itself, it's very basic in terms of what...
Yeah, and everything gets blown up in this movie or driven through or, otherwise destroyed.
The most frustrating element was probably doing that bathroom. He's got to do all the tiling. That's it. Yes, Woodward, it's ice. Love that bit. Get back in the truck. I love that line.
I do like a bit of Arizona countryside.
Oh, definitely. Need a soft top though, don't you?
Yeah, it'd be good if it was the same colour out of both windows, but
I swear, you look out one window, they're going faster on one side when it flips.
Yeah. Yeah, Van Damme's going a lot slower than she is. And he's seems to be in a much higher contrast world, too.
You use ice like other people use Band-Aids, and then you run through walls. Now, I'm sorry, but this is not...
You know that she auditioned for Friends, don't you, for one of them?
Oh, man.
Maybe she's a bit old.
That would be quite amusing if that was a randomly true fact. You know what I mean? You could trick people with that fact, couldn't you? Just she auditioned for Friends. Really? It's just like it'd work.
You got family, you got friends. I mean, is there a Mrs. 44?
So have you seen you've seen the sequel, Universal Soldier 2? Have you seen any of the others?
Okay, so are you not counting the TV movies here, right?
Well, they're sequels, technically. Well, any of them.
Well,
really.
yeah, okay. So
Any of them.
I watched the TV movies a long time ago when I did this film as a retrospective, and I don't have much of a memory of them. Universal Soldier: The Return, I purchased on DVD like an idiot, as I was back in 2000, 2001, thinking, it's going to be a great film because I hadn't seen it on video. I think that's kind of like talk about how bad it was, but I thought, no, it must be good. Yeah, it was a very bad film, but it had loads of special features, I think. And then years went by, and then when I was working as a projectionist, there was going to be a new Universal Soldier film directed by Peter Hyams' son, and we had heard it was going to get into theatrical screenings. And I remember phoning up one of the film buyers for Cineworld. I think it's called Tristan. I said, dude, what's happening about Universal Soldier? Is Cineworld going to pick it up? He's like, no, Ollie, it's not going to happen. And I think he may get like a showing at the Prince Charles Cinema or something, but other parts of Europe it was getting a release. I was gutted. So I had to wait quite a while for it to come out on DVD. And I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was a completely different take, a very gritty kind of somewhat
Regeneration, this is.
Yes, I think that's it. Yeah, very sort of monochromatic kind of look to it, and I like the fight with him and Dolph. It was really good, really brutal fight.
It's the one that's it's like really obviously set in filmed in Bulgaria.
Yes, it's kind of like this kind of Chernobyl backdrop, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So I really didn't like that at all. I did not like that at all. I haven't seen it for a long time. Since not long after it came out, but I thought it was dreadful. But it's also, weirdly, it's written by John Fasano, that movie, who made Rock and Roll Nightmare and Black Roses and a few of the most prominent heavy metal horror movies and some of the worst films ever made. Rock and Roll Nightmare is as bad as any movie you could ever hope to see.
That's so bizarre. Why would have hired him to write?
Yeah, it's absolutely baffling. And then weirdly, I think, because wasn't Peter Hyams the cinematographer as well on that?
It's certainly he one of them. Might have been. I know he helped his son out a bit because I was like, I mean, his son is actually a very good director. I mean, he did the sequel, Day of Reckoning, wasn't it?
Well, that's the thing. So that's the weird thing. Regeneration, I think, is absolutely diabolical, but Day of Reckoning, I think, is brilliant. I think it's better than this, frankly. I absolutely love it. The action is, without a shadow of a doubt, infinitely better than in this or any other Universal Soldier movie.
For sure, yeah. I thought it did look a bit cheap though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it doesn't. So, when you got that sort of digital, like direct to DVD kind of movie, it doesn't really look like a movie. It kind of looks like a big budget sort of TV show. But
exactly.
I remember watching it, and the fighting's incredible. Scott Adkins is in it. You can't complain. But that strobe effect they put in the film, it really it's really bad, and it put me off it. Like, it gave me a horrible headache.
Well, it's kind of like what it's meant to do, though, isn't it? And I agree. I couldn't look at it after a while, but I was thinking, wow, that's really clever, the way they've managed to do that in a way that actually does achieve a different effect than strobing normally does. And seeing that in the theatre would have been... Well, yeah, imagine seeing it in a theatre when it's the only light source.
Fucking hell, dude, yeah. I think this is the only one that does feel like a big budget feature, though.
Oh, yeah. No, the Canadian ones are TV. They feel like, well, they are TV movies. Feel like TV movies, and are also diabolical. Matt Battaglia in the Van Damme role is dreadful. But you do get Gary Busey in the first one and Burt Reynolds in the second one.
Yeah,
So there is a trade-off. But they're both dreadful. Burt Reynolds doing an Irish accent is worth it. It's worth 90 minutes of misery for 5 minutes of Burt Reynolds doing an Irish accent.
It's as bad as Tommy Lee's in Blown Away.
I think it is personally, but but yeah, and then you've got the Return, and that was its own standalone sequel.
Ignores the TV movies.
Yeah, totally. And then Regeneration completely ignored both previous sets of sequels, Return and yeah, it isn't an awful lot of good. But Day of Reckoning, I just really want to give a big up to, because I think it's just fantastic. I love how ambitious it is as well, and how stupidly ambitious. It's basically, it tries to be Blade Runner for half its runtime.
We did miss one of the funniest moments in the film where she's got to look for the tracking device.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, and the old man goes, "What do you mean, park your car?" I love that jump then, was pathetic jump to get out of the way of this petrol. That is a wicked explosion, that is.
Rumours that was the biggest explosion ever filmed at the time. I don't know if that's true.
At the time.
No idea if it's true or not.
I mean, I think Martin Campbell's done some of the biggest explosions, like No Escape or near the end of Mask of Zorro. That explosion at the end is one of the biggest I've ever seen on film. I was gobsmacked.
That's that shot is, they really set Ralph Mueller on fire.
They do,
which is unusual. Obviously tricky to find a stuntman his size.
Yeah, the other guy was burnt to a crisp, wasn't he? That was well done piece of meat, you know. Oh yeah, recharged himself.
And her, for some reason, she needs ice too now.
Swapped clothes, that's great.
Oh yeah, that's how he ends up out of his uniform. I've never really noticed how he ends up out of his uniform somehow.
You never notice the old man wearing his outfit.
God, that's really Ralph Mueller, really on fire.
Bloody hell.
I mean, how could anyone watch this and think it's unintentionally funny?
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the broad stuff, like the comedy guy in the boot. Obviously, that's meant to be fun. But more than that, there's just a level of absurdity here. Like Mueller's expression when he was on fire, turning to the camera, and Van Damme kind of hopping back. That's the kind of thing that I think American critics and audiences don't always get as deliberate in European films or films made by Europeans. Just the general tone is meant to be slightly absurd. It's meant to be a bit wacky.
How did 6'4" Dolph Lundgren hide in the back seat? Baffles me. I love when he flies out the window, though. I think it's like this kind of dummy they had. I think Roland goes, "We should have cut that a little bit shorter." It's good, though. I like
convincing,
it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the impact when he hits the ground is really good.
Yeah. That car did an awful lot of very fast stopping for it not to even have a dent in the front of it after that.
My name is... What would he say? I'm not GR13 or something, isn't it? They're pulling the plug.
Cold iron. That's what you hire Edo Ross to do. How much time has he spent standing amid smoke, bellowing at someone in an army uniform?
That's a good shot of Dolph, though, with the fire in the background. My name is Sergeant Andrew Scott.
My name is Sergeant Andrew Scott.
This is where it steps up a gear, isn't it?
Oh, when he fires a gun.
He goes properly nuts.
Oh.
And goes to that supermarket. I love that supermarket
It's
trip.
amazing, yeah. He goes to that little fat kid, "Where's your freezer?" He's pricing up stuff. That kid is way too young. It's like slave labour or something. Why is he working in a... I can't believe this.
The back of his head was all melted a minute ago when he was on fire.
Not anymore, mate. They put like an ice pack on him.
There's, I don't know if I like it or not, but it's intriguing the way there's just absolutely no background or explanation for the science involved in this.
Yeah, I was thinking that, because they're just like, what they're doing, they're working on his innards, what they're trying to do. Like, isn't it like and it's supposed to be the serum that kind of reanimates the body. I suppose if their internal organs are damaged, they need to repair them to then.
But do they then? Because if their internal organs are functioning as normal, then how are they dead? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things. When we think about it, it completely falls apart.
It does, especially in the sequels which all involve actually killing. Like I think it's the Canadian one starts with Gary Busey finding all the best soldiers in the military and murdering them so that they can be brought back to life as unisols. Well, surely, isn't it? If they're alive in the first place, might that not be an advantage in some way?
Now, wasn't this lady here, the waitress? She was the acting coach, wasn't she?
Dolph's acting coach, yeah, for quite a while, I think.
She's bloody good in this. I mean,
yeah, this is another great little scene.
She goes, Hank, he won't pay. It's like, I spent hours cooking that
We got
slut.
a deadbeat.
Yeah.
It was really similar to that scene in Kickboxer as well, when you think about it. He like innocently goes to a bar, in this case of Kickboxer, gets left on his own, and then everyone attacks him for reasons he doesn't really understand.
Well, he's pissed at
and he
him,
kind of defends
Kickboxer.
himself without really understanding why as well. Yeah, because he's so drunk in Kickboxer and because he's no idea what's going on here.
It's an iconic scene. Yeah, because I know you mentioned very early on about the sort of lack of martial arts. I was always, as a kid, like, yeah, there could have been, especially more from Dolph. Because Dolph doesn't do much in the final battle. It's just often a bit of punching, where Van Damme gets to deploy some of his kicks in the moment when he has a fight in the bar. And at the end, when we get to it, it's brilliant. But I always kind of wanted a bit more of like a proper... Like the fight in the barn is just punch, punch, punch. A lot of it is. And Dean Devlin was like, nothing's better than a classic punch up. I'm like, no, it's not, mate. This is 1992.
You don't watch a lot of Jackie Chan movies,
Yeah,
do you?
exactly. I need some high flying kicks, please, and some proper groin punches.
Yeah, it's like Dolph I don't mind so much because I never even realised back in the day that he actually knew karate, because he's never looked very good doing it to my eye. I've never really enjoyed him doing martial arts.
He does pull some funny faces when he does it.
He does. But he's not got the kind of... Somehow he's not got much flexibility. But I think more than that, it's just because he's so big. Big people, and I speak as a very big person myself, big people just never look good doing martial arts. It's the same with dancing. If you're well over 6 foot, it just doesn't look...
His big lumbering legs and arms swinging around.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like, if you think about how lithe and athletic Van Damme is compared to Dolph, when when you see them moving together. But yeah, Dolph makes more sense that he should just do big lumbering punches. But Van Damme, I wanted to see doing some flying kicks. But yeah, he'd kind of gone off kicks by this point, hadn't he?
What people pay to see. I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh, well, that's what they all do, isn't it?
I could do some mashed potato.
All the martial arts stars start resenting martial arts, just like all the scream queens who were hired to get naked started resenting being naked. It's exactly the same thing. It's...
I love his little the temperature gauge. It's like some sort of game and watch thing on his wrist.
Did he have that lump on his forehead removed at some point, or did?
No, it's always been there.
Because I don't notice it much in like more modern films.
Yeah, I think that would just leave a big scar. I think to remove that. I'm all ears. Oh, you're going to try and get him. He's going to have a nap.
At least they don't look suspicious. It's a strange plot device as well, this whole temperature thing, which they repeatedly just forget about in the sequels because it all gets a bit too complicated.
Well, they just lock in Dolph Lundgren in that room and figure out a way how to make it really hot in there.
Yeah. Or just break the machine. Yeah, and mind you, there is that one of the sequels they do, because it says that they go into like their special freezer room and it says that it's going to be 12 hours to cool them down. I thought, well, why? Why is it going to take 12 hours to make something cool? I love those ears. There's blood splattered all over the place.
Let's have that.
So have you heard about potential remakes? They seem to come and go, these stories.
Not in terms of Universal Soldier, because there's weird gaps, wasn't there? Because this was 92, then the TV movie was 98, and then quickly they actually did make, the proper official sequel, and then nothing would happen to like 2000 and what was it, 7 or 8 with the
something like that, yeah.
Regeneration. But I've not heard anyone sort of explore any more sequels to this. So is this something you've read recently?
Yeah. Well, I remember a few years ago. I remember a sequel was. A remake was announced. I think. One of those announcements that clearly doesn't have an awful lot of weight behind it yet. And then just recently, I saw something as well. I don't know that there's the love for it though. That, I don't know if that IP really carries a lot of value.
I think it's all for younger people. They just wouldn't care. So it has to be aimed at older people. But I mean, if you'd did a new one, you'd have to. You couldn't have Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren again coming back in some form. You have to have younger people that are sort of big names. And is there sort of big names? Because the concept of this was taking two kind of popular action stars and teaming up. And but who would you have now that would really make that work?
Yeah, exactly. The equivalent stars.
If it was years earlier and it was Scott Adkins playing like sort of like Day of Reckoning, but
That's the problem. People like him are the equivalents of Jean-Claude Van Damme now, but they're just on nowhere near the same level of fame and marketability and market value as Van Damme and Seagal and people like that were. But yeah, who else is the B people now doing the actual proper martial arts movies?
I still wish there was a Gary Daniels one with he's a unisol. Well, the chef is a stuntman, isn't he? In Hollywood.
So presumably he's about to get thrown through something.
Yeah. Fucking A it is. Are you going to pay for it? He's like, I don't know.
I'm just looking. Actually, no, I don't want to talk over this bit.
Love this bit when he Van Damme does a great kick, doesn't he? The guy just goes flying over the pool table. There's some million stuntmen here. This guy here, he strangles. I've seen him before. It's John Peters' haircut.
Yeah, operator, local number prefix KL5, Dr. Christopher Gregor.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes, and one thing I forgot to mention earlier during the butt scene cracked me up in the commentary, the Roland Emmerich commentary, when apparently after Van Damme pulled his trousers down, he turned around, looked over his shoulder and said, "Is my butt in focus?" Roland Emmerich was just rolling about laughing. "Is my butt in focus?" Van Damme's face.
That was a good edit. Oh, when he's eating the popcorn, yeah. He's like so relaxed. And this looks like he's like super stoned by this point. She's got to pay for a lot of lunches, hasn't she? I was a bit when he. I was in Utah when he grabs the guy. You can see when it cuts to the wide, you got this massive black cable holding the guy up. You could. No one could hold a guy like that, you know.
Yeah.
His unbalanced weights, you know. Same thing happens to Scully in Commando, where Arnold has to hold him by the leg, doesn't he, over the cliff?
Yeah, it's really obvious in
Big
that
cable
as well.
there.
I don't remember this. There is only one cut of this, isn't there? Eventually, I know that it was.
Yeah, there may have been a BBFC trims or something like that, but yeah, there's no director's cut on.
Well, there were some reshoots, weren't there? After it, I don't think it had been released, but it had a bunch of promotional screenings.
The ending was changed. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, see, I thought he went straight to the supermarket. I don't remember that.
No, it's after this bit. No. He goes to the supermarket after the.
Oh, was it even after the chase?
The cliff,
stuff?
yeah, when it goes off the cliff, yeah. Or maybe it's a minute when he's dragging those bodies. Oh God, my memory's
He
about hazy now.
dubbed.
Because there was something about in the commentary that he, because they're supposed to be Americans and he's very German, isn't he?
Well, yeah, the three main ones. One of them's Swedish, one of them's Belgian, one of them's German, and they're all meant to be in the U.S. military. And there's that, there is some kind of vague mention that Van Damme's from Louisiana.
What accent? It's
Being Belgian is fine, apparently, but I don't know what the explanation is for Scott's accent. Oh yeah, here we are.
Yeah, sorry, you were right.
I love this scene. This is without a doubt the best Dolph Lundgren scene when he comes out of the freezer room and just starts shouting at people.
Look at that kid! He's way too young to be working there.
That is blatantly someone's son, isn't it?
Yeah. The whole platoon's dropping like flies. It's like... I've recited that line so many times.
Oh, we get Jerry Orbach now, don't we?
We do, yeah.
I love Jerry Orbach.
He must be in tons of TV shows like Murder, She Wrote or...
Ollie. Not only was he a recurring character in Murder, She Wrote...
Oh, he's a recurring character.
A very popular character, Harry McGraw. He's also the only one to get his own Murder, She Wrote spin-off series. There were several backdoor pilots for spin-off shows, but his was the only one that got picked up, and there's a whole season of The Law and Harry McGraw, I think it's called. He's like an edgy New York private detective. I've never been able to get hold of it. He's brilliant in the series. He's one of Jess's kind of more dingy, down at heel friends, but he's dead good.
He's dead good.
Other than that, to me, he's always the captain of the baseball team in Brewster's Millions. He's probably done really loads of proper roles. In fact, he's in Crimes and Misdemeanors, isn't he? He's really good in that. But to me, he's Harry McGraw and the guy from Brewster's Millions.
Yeah, Law and Order, wasn't it? He was in. That was pretty much his thing, wasn't it?
He pops up. He's Out for Justice as well. That Seagal movie. He pops up in some odd stuff.
Yeah.
He's the dad in Dirty Dancing too, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
He doesn't often play villainous roles, but...
Yeah, it's an FX. That movie. Yeah, Dirty Dancing. Out for Justice, Toy Soldiers. Beauty and the Beast. His voice. Oh, right.
Toy Soldiers is... I haven't seen it since it came out, but there was one bit in it that made me laugh. And they're all like sneaking out. And I think that's Van Damme's son, isn't it? They're all sneaking out and the little toys. And you just hear the voice of the actor who's Troy McClure. I've forgotten his name now. I've forgotten his name. But you know that Troy McClure upbeat voice. You just hear him going, I think World War II is my favourite war. You just hear that in the background. It just killed me.
I love he just eats that raw meat. That's you, Rob, isn't it? You don't eat raw meat, aren't you?
Oh, I do that. Quite happily, I'd do that.
What the hell are you staring at?
This is
Killers like out there.
Kiss ass.
Well, I'm fighting this thing, man. I kiss that.
It's definitely a huge step up over his previous movies in his performance.
Yeah. But, relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking. Yeah.
We can't let him do this whole scene, otherwise you're going to get a copyright strike, aren't you? For that amount of... It's just beautiful, though. I love this kind of overacting.
Scott of the U.S. Army.
Isn't there a really popular actor called Andrew Scott now? Is he the guy from Sherlock?
Ooh. Irish actor, yeah. Oh, him, yeah. Yeah, he's in the new Bond films, wasn't he? Part of MI5.
Oh yes, he was, wasn't he? Yeah, he was really good in that.
He's a bit of a dick, isn't he? In that, but he's very popular in the Fleabag show, wasn't he? Things like that.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah,
There's tons of TV stuff like Black Mirror and stuff. Yeah.
Oh god, that could have been a shot from. There is one problem with Day of Reckoning, the most recent Universal Soldier movie. It's that at least a quarter of it is Scott Adkins looking at himself in a mirror. It's about 25% of the runtime, just looking more and more existentially drained and desperate.
Because the original ending, wasn't it, that when he goes back to his parents' house, it's all set up by him. It's all part of a trick.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, and audiences didn't like it at all, so they had to go back and reshoot it.
Okay.
Because at the moment he's all like apologetic for what he has done. He wants to correct the mistakes of his past. But in the original one, it's all again part of this system to sort of control him. And that goes in step with your discussion about the terrorist attack at the beginning, of that being set up.
Yeah, and I can see why they hung on to that idea long enough to shoot it, because he's not military technically, is he? So if they want a malevolent force, it makes more sense to make it him than the military guys if they want to avoid that.
He could be deployed in a very similar way to like the cigarette guy in the X-Files. You know what I mean? He's always around. Although it's part of this organisation that's kind of very shadowy.
The strange thing is that normally if you're going to do that switcheroo and he's going to turn out to be a villain, it's usually telegraphed quite heavily, isn't it? It's even though he's acting like the good guy, there'll be a moment when he gives a dodgy look when he isn't being looked at or something, but that seems to be totally legit.
Or he gets a phone call.
Yeah,
we can have some more phone chat.
I haven't noticed Simon Rhee. I think I've missed him completely. I have noticed him in the past. He's one of the lesser Unisols, but he's the brother of Philip Rhee, the star of Best of the Best.
Yeah,
and I think he actually Simon Rhee, also a martial artist, stunt coordinated. Yeah.
He's in. I think he's in the first one, isn't he? Or is he just?
He's in the second one, I think. I can't. He's in. I think he's in a couple of them actually, in very small roles. As is Ralph Mueller.
Yeah,
which is
it's in number 2.
Coincidence?
I think not.
But he's in loads of stuff, Simon Rhee, in very small roles, like Mission Impossible movies and Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises, I think, he's one of Bane's henchmen in The Dark Knight Rises, I recognised.
This is a good little moment because of the little emotional back and forth, and then she decides to stay with him, and then the bus goes past and all the cops are there. See, Van Damme's trousers aren't too high in this movie. They're proper high in like Death Warrant.
Do you know anything about who shot the action scenes in this? Because I know Vic Armstrong was not just stunt coordinator or whatever, but he's credited with additional direction.
So was he second unit?
Well, he's not credited as second unit director. He's credited as additional directing, which normally, when that's the case for him anyway, it's like a specific action scene that he's handled entirely.
Okay, well, I know the lorry chase, and then what's he with the?
That's what I'm suspicious might have been him.
This was all second unit, and Roland said, well, he storyboarded it, and then they go shot it all second unit,
right?
And then he would see the rushes, and then approve stuff, or they go back and redo stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was my assumption. So he handled on the ground. So usually when the credit ends up being additional directing rather than second unit directing, it means he's also done stuff like this. It's not just the action bit. So at the end of this, I'm guessing there was a conversation about whether to elevate his credit, and they did. But yeah, I was just wondering whether. This is funny. This stuff. There's a Fred Olen Ray movie from the early 2000s. Oh God, Critical Mass, I think it's called.
Critical Mass.
Critical Mass. Starring Trait Williams, and they take this entire they use this entire chase scene with the bus and the truck. In that movie, I was watching it. I was thinking,
well, they copied it
this.
Shot for shot.
No, they bought the footage.
What?
This entire chase scene, stock footage, was sold as stock footage to Fred Olen Ray.
Oh my God!
It's like this shot. It's exactly the same, except every time there's a cutaway to someone, a close up of someone driving.
Yeah,
it's a cutaway to a close up of the character from that.
But they're using the same big lorry though.
It's exactly the same. Then there's a shot there of Trait Williams and the woman he's with falling over because the car's been rammed. It's identical. But because Fred Olen Ray's Fred Olen Ray, he had to up the ante, didn't he? And there's a secondary rip-off going on simultaneously because there's a bomb on the bus and it can't stop.
No.
It's really funny.
God. Let's end with the Death Star exploding,
It's a big B-movie actor in the truck chasing them as well, but I can't remember for the life of me who it is now.
Oh, looks so hot.
Poor old Trait Williams.
I know. I was gutted when he died.
I know. That was really sad. He's always been a favourite.
Because he was literally on Twitter that morning.
I know. I was one of only about 4,000 people who followed him. I was always shocked by the fact no one seemed to follow him.
I know. And he was at his farm chilling, and he posted. Then he went out on his motorbike, then got hit off it and died. That same day. I was I was fuming.
Yes, I don't know how. I mean, so I guess Carolco would have owned. When did Carolco go under?
97, something like that.
Right. Okay. So they would have owned this footage, wouldn't they? And
things get sold off. Yeah,
it would have become. It would have gone to a creditor.
Yeah, loads of background plates for films. Is often just gets sold off to huge libraries that they can just sell off as stock footage.
And no one used more of it than Fred Olen Ray.
I love how these grenades take ages to go off. For them to make sequels to this, it shows you that even though there's kind of relatively big gaps between them, it just sort of shows you that there is still a kind of an interest. It must be, the rental market and the home video market must have they must have seen the numbers and gone, look, we can do something else with this.
Yeah, and they did start making them on a very low budget. But I wonder if any potential for a remake or a reboot properly might be scuppered by that Bloodshot movie, that Vin Diesel Bloodshot movie, which is exactly the same plot.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Absolute disaster. I don't think anyone went to see it.
That was When was that from? Was that the sort of mid 2000s?
No, it's more recent than that. I think it's only like 3 or 4 years ago.
2020, yeah, man.
Yeah, and I've seen it, and it is. I mean, yeah, it's not good. None of Vin Diesel's standalone big budget actioners are they? It's extraordinary.
I love the last Riddick film they did, and some people just didn't like that film, but
No, I enjoyed it, but I don't think it was any good.
I thought it was great. But the when I was a projectionist, and we'd have those standalone Vin Diesel movies in, and they were just mostly toilet, you know.
There's the one where something about witch there's a witch in the title.
Yeah, is it Witchfinder or no?
Yeah, that's it. Something like that. Yeah, all really high concept, really slick.
Oh yeah, just been like, no, got that horrible bleach bypass look to them all, like a Michael Bay movie or something. They all look a bit sickly to look at. Oh, this is a great sequence here. Oh, this is a bit Terminator 2, this is.
Yeah, there is a little more Terminator 2 than I was probably thinking. In the I don't think it's specific moments. It's more just the overall shape of it. It is just kind of one long chase.
Yeah.
With little interludes.
Dolph's so funny then. Get the fuck up! He just goes, fuck! He's like off the edge. Great miniature. These are like
Yeah, really good.
massive miniatures they built.
Really good. Yeah, there's no scaling issues with that fire or anything. Or was that the actual truck? There was definitely a miniature in there at one point, but
It was definitely the miniature that went off the edge, wasn't it?
yeah. But could they? Oh, no, they couldn't have blown up the truck, could they? Is that the Grand Canyon?
Looks
Or are
like
they
it.
just like?
It looks very familiar. It was a bit in The Last Crusade. He goes off the edge. I thought I lost you, boy.
Yeah, Van Damme should have walked up and looked over the edge to see what everyone was looking at.
I wish he gets the guy in the balls. Oh, the noise he makes.
Is there a more maligned archetype in the movies than the Midwestern or Southern sheriff? Oh, they're never the good guys, are they?
No,
they're
they never
never
are.
painted as. They're always just kind of backward, fat hillbilly types.
Van Damme's putting some funny faces here. It's great. Oh, we haven't mentioned actually the sort of paparazzi setup at the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh yeah,
where they
yeah.
were sort of like trying to pretend to start a fight, and Dolph just like pushing him. You know what I mean? Van Damme looks a bit like.
Well, I mentioned this in my video, and I almost didn't because it sounds like you're trying to like create a like you're trying to manufacture a beef or something, and I didn't want to do that at all. But I've always been really struck, even as a kid, by the final fight scene. I've always felt like Lundgren's really trying to hurt Van Damme. Somehow it just looks especially brutal and uncompromising, and then the footage from that Cannes thing. It's really weird because it's totally one-sided. Van Damme just is backing up all the time. And Lundgren looks more comfortable, looks more confident. Van Damme looks like he doesn't want to be doing any of this. But famously they actually got on really well, and
they became good friends
remained
after
really
this.
good friends. So
Now, obviously, we've got Ron Howard's father.
yeah, Rance Howard.
Rance Howard, yeah. And then the mother is the scientist from Predator 2. Remember, she checks
Oh, is she?
the Predator weapon and checks the elements of it.
Ah. I just love Rance Howard's face. He should only ever wear like overalls or checked shirts with dungarees and stuff. It's just
Dungarees, definitely. Yeah.
I think that's his one of the only like proper movies I've ever recognised him in is Chinatown, and he's like a farmer in that, doing like some shouting at someone who drives past or something. It's like
He's in tons of movies. Just having these little tiny roles, isn't it? Even it pops up in Ron's movies along with his brother.
yeah, he's got quite a big role in The Grinch, hasn't he? well, reasonably.
I've seen the Grinch maybe once. I thought. Yeah, I didn't think
got
it was.
children.
Yeah, you got children. Yeah. And by that point, I was just like, I don't know. The Grinch wasn't our thing, was it? Growing up as a Christmas nostalgic thing. It's very much
I did get
American.
into the Boris Karloff animated one because I knew it was a Christmas tradition for a lot of British people who I respected and liked, and like were generally sort of looking more to American culture than British culture. So I got hold of it quite early, and I did get into that, and it is a bit of a Christmas tradition in our house now.
Yeah, I never saw it on TV as a kid. I don't recall them showing it. It's all the snowman.
None of them touched the books. Without wanting to detour too much, the books are amazing. The books are so good.
Van Damme's still sweating. They keep up, don't they? Must have constantly spraying him with water, to sort of keep the sweat on, to create that illusion.
It's a nice. It does lend a sense of urgency to everything, which is why it's so clever filming in such a blatantly hot place. It just emphasises that, doesn't it? If this movie took place, say, in the northeast of the States, it wouldn't have the same sort of sense of urgency about it, I don't think.
I don't think Van Damme's had a chance to cool down either. So he's going to ask his mum and dad, "You got any?" He just pull his ice in the bath.
Where does this sit in the grand scheme of Van Damme movies for you? Those wonderful early career starring vehicles.
I think it's in. Could you put it in the potentially top 5, or it could be number 6 or 7 if it was a top 10. You know what I mean? So, see, Bloodsport is always going to kind of be number 1.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hard Target.
Kickboxer.
Yeah, you do love Kickboxer. I love Kickboxer when I was younger. But things like I love Sudden Death. Nowhere to Run's a good movie, even though it doesn't have much fighting in it. It's just punching. Oh, it's a tough one.
You're not even considering AWOL then.
I said, yeah, AWOL's in there as well. Oh man, this requires more thought. This is pressure, man.
My top tier is always going to be Bloodsport, Kickboxer, and AWOL. But I think this is probably the top of the second tier. But it's also that time when he'd gone mainstream by this point, so he no longer felt like my inside favourite guy that other people don't know about so much. And these bigger budget ones, like Time Cop as well, they've never quite felt quite so personal to me somehow.
For sure.
Sudden Death's another one, actually. And that didn't stand up well for me last time I watched it as well. So
What? Wash your mouth out with soap, boy. Great movie.
have you seen the remake or sequel?
Oh, sequel. No, I couldn't. I love Michael J. White, but I can't bring myself to see it.
It's got good fighting. He beats the shit out of his wife's in it, as well as real life wife's in it, and they have one of the most brutal fights I've ever seen between a man and a woman.
Oh, I love this whole end fight's brilliant. Apart from the constant punching back and forth in the barn, but it's got some amazing sort of setups with the camera, like when he stands up with the flame behind him. Oh, it's so good. You didn't take your medication. It's like the way his delivery, it's like Scapoli or something from.
Oh, good sound effect.
This goes flying back, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe it's the sound effects that are part of what made this feel so brutal.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Especially when he bashes his head against the door of the car, doesn't he?
It is noticeable how much more classy the cinematography is than Van Damme's previous films.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you
makes
photographed
sense.
this movie.
You should have taken your medication.
Medication. It's like what's he got? It's like there's a milk. It's like,
Oh, I hate that.
oh, it's actually black liquid. I thought it was white then, because it's actually the plastic thing of the. It's loads of Guinness he's put inside of him. There's some stout in there. Pair of yeast.
I think I know someone who injects Guinness.
Most certainly Irish then.
I wonder if that enormous, deadly-looking machine that she's tied to is going to come into play.
I don't think so, Rob.
I'm gonna teach you about the chain of command, Private.
Van Damme has always been very good at selling these blows, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, of course.
In all movies, not just this scene. It's really underrated, I think, how important that is for an action star. It's like you hear about it with wrestlers and so on, which isn't something I've got any interest in, but I've read that it's a really highly prized ability to be able to sell the blow that you're being hit.
Oh yeah. Hasn't he grabbed? He has grabbed, hasn't he? The injection.
I'm not sure if he's got it yet. Isn't it? Is it now? Once they're in the barn?
I was in the barn. Yeah, that's it. There, because Van has got to use his remaining strength to sort of kick him. He's like, "That's the spirit soldier." He's like, it's so good.
That's brilliant.
Dolph pulls the funniest face. It's empty. It's so good.
Ooh. It's a great setting as well for fire, rain, darkness, light. It's a lovely little place to do it.
He said Honor on his hat. I thought it said Homer.
So the mother was originally killed as well, I believe. Do you know anything about that?
I think there's maybe a deleted scene somewhere, but yeah, I can't remember on that front. But I mean, I just know it was like the trick ending basically. But this again tricks the audience as well, because that basically looks like she's dead, you know.
Yeah.
But right, coming up. Right, watch Dolph's face. Pulls a funny face, but when Van Damme stands up and the music cue kicks in, it's so epic.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, the shot is brilliant.
Look at that, Van fucking Damme. Dolph's face. Look at that. That's a great kick. And he flips over. Oh, that's the spirit.
I watched this with my 11-year-old a few weeks ago, and he did enjoy it.
Oh, good.
Van Damme is one of his favourite movie stars now.
Really? Oh, that's great. See, now if you didn't like it, Rob, you might, just think about disowning him. But it's fine.
Kids today, honestly, I can't believe he likes any of this stuff. But I wouldn't hold it against him. His favourite is I asked him a couple of years ago, all right, I'll paint a big mural on your wall. What do you want? Bruce Lee. Oh, wicked.
That's cool.
Died before even your dad was born. That's
yeah, a guy from over 50 years ago. It still has.
I
an
like the
influence.
respect for the past here.
Yeah. You're a good boy. If you like. Get your Guinness in.
Say goodnight, asshole.
Oh, I didn't even realise they were tied up there. I thought they were back in the house. It's a great line.
Good night, asshole. That's the way he delivers it.
I don't know how much I agree with you about Lundgren's acting being a notable improvement over his previous movies in this.
What? Come on. The whole speech in the supermarket.
Oh, it's great, but it's not great because it's so well acted.
Well, it's just entertaining because he's always
Oh, it
so
is. It's
like
brilliantly entertaining.
he's always a little bit more subdued in his performance, you know, and like pushing the Punisher. He's like, you know, he's always a bit like just drowsy the entire film, you know. See, this is a bit that kind of, when I was younger, I just wanted, because you're seeing Dolph Lundgren fighting Jean-Claude Van Damme. You want this kind of really cool choreographed fight, and it just results in basically a pub brawl, basically, you know, just punching back and forth like now.
Yeah.
But the music's doing an amazing job, but it's like, come on, I need some more kicks and some more kind of something a bit more creative than this.
It's patently been made by movie people and maybe action people, but not martial arts action people.
Yeah. If this was designed by, say, Vic Armstrong, you know, then it would be just punching. And if it was like a, you know...
But if they'd let Simon Ree do it, then, yeah. But it all goes with the style, with the general style of it all is, you know, it would almost be wrong if there was suddenly a really dynamic kung fu fight here.
Yeah!
Just in case you'd forgotten about that spiky thing. Oh, still there. Hey.
Oh, it's great.
Even through his hand. How did that go through his hand? It's completely blunt.
Oh, the sound effect here is amazing when he breaks his arm. Oh, it's always a nasty sound.
Turn it on quick.
I was always a bit disappointed not much comes out of the end of the harvester bit, whatever it was. What would you call it? The exhaust bit of when it expels all the the bits.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's just throw it like a piece of ham or something and some bit of blood. It needs to be like in Fargo.
This is not the story of Ricky O.
No, I suppose not.
Have you ever seen that?
Yes, I have. Yes.
That is the best blender scene in any movie.
I've been Stuart watched that one night. I was like, this is like watching Fists of the North Star. Oh! You're discharged, Sarge. Oh, couple little bits there.
Should have started with a whole load of ears coming out and then the rest of Dolph.
I think there should have been a scene with, like he sat down, talked, and spoke to his parents. It feels like there isn't any connection there between him and his parents. You know, because all he did was sit down with, you know, the reporter, you know, the journalist, and she kind of left, and before getting, you know, would get taken by Dolph. Wakey, wakey. There's a good little line from Van Damme, which he goes, "Where is he? Around."
That is good.
And it's got a brilliant musical cue how it ends, which is a great wrap-up of music. And then it kicks into what would be, I suppose, a common trait of this period, having some sort of rap music at the end.
Yeah.
Body count. Yeah. Body count.
Oh, is it? But it's body count, isn't it? Yeah. Well, no, technically that's metal.
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah.
Ice-T's metal, but I used to love that album. God, I was obsessed with it. I'd completely forgotten that was the end of this.
It's like a big, epic musical cue.
Yeah.
Body
count. Body count.
It's a
body count, motherfucker.
That's not in the song. This one.
Oh, is it not?
No. Dun, 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 dun.
So, where do you think the name Universal Soldier came from? That's one thing I forgot to ask you during it. I've never
quite figured that out.
Because it's a song. It's an old folk song that I love.
Oh,
originally written by Buffy Sainte Marie, and it's one of the few like anti-war songs that, instead of attacking the establishment, attacks in the idea of individual soldiers actually agreeing to go and do this. You know, you can't get away with just saying you were told to do it. So it's kind of got a strange, you know, given that's the origin of the term, it's kind of unusual the way it's been applied to this movie. But I guess they just thought it sounds cool. So
I think it's down to it sounds cool. I mean, I just kind of, because Roland never reveals, or Dean Devlin, about his origins of its name. It's all just down to they didn't like the script, but it just kind of I suppose it's a company. It's supposed to represent a soldier that can do anything. Maybe you can universally can.
It's not quite. It's not exactly on. It's a bit vague to my mind. It's in that respect, but yeah, it does. It works kind of, doesn't it?
Yeah, because when you see the name and what they do, it's like, oh, it makes sense. Oh, editorial consultant Mark Goldblatt. That's interesting. Okay.
I wonder if that was a particular problem they were having, and a specific little issue that he helped them fix.
Bring in Mark to solve it. You know. Yeah, I still really enjoy Universal Soldier. It's a good length. Doesn't outstay its welcome. Some good action scenes, good explosions, funny dialogue. Van Damme looks great in it, and some cool moments, just sort of like action moments. And you know, and you may disagree with me, Rob, and I'm sure you do, but yeah, one of Dolph's better performances, and he makes for a great villain. And I think it really cemented him as, you know, Rocky had kind of, I suppose, straight away cemented him as a memorable villain. But I think this really elevated that because, you know, he just has more fun with it. I think Dolph as a hero, I don't think he has the range to be the lead to hold the movie together. I don't quite think so. When he's the villain, he kind of gets more to sort of play with and be more. Because he can give you that look of a bad guy. He just, like, the way he just focuses his eyes on something, he looks kind of like a bad guy straight away. And he's got the deep voice as well. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, no, I enjoy him immensely in this, and I don't think he's like embarrassingly stupid bad, but there is an ironic aspect to my enjoyment of him in this. You know, it's not a good performance, is it? It's a fun performance. But
what about his performance in Showdown in Little Tokyo?
Yeah, I see. I don't really remember that well enough.
He seems to work best as when he's teamed up with someone.
Exactly. I was going to say that a minute ago. His best, and he's recognised that, I think, throughout his career, because he's done that a lot. He's made probably half a dozen or so movies with Van Damme, in fact. Because there's Blackwater, there's a couple of sequels that they're both in, and there's at least one other movie they did together. I can't remember. And now he does all these movies with Scott Adkins. Well, he's done a few anyway.
Yeah, he's directed stuff, hasn't he? So
seems to, yeah.
But he didn't direct or he starred in Kindergarten Cop 2, which is like a crime against humanity.
That I haven't seen.
Some of my friends were so excited at the time. My God, Dolph's in Kindergarten Cop 2. It's going to be hilariously bad. And it wasn't like hilariously bad. It was just bad, you know.
That's a bad comedy. There's nothing worse than a bad comedy.
I know. Oh dear. Body Count in the House, yeah. Ice-T.
Ernie C, yeah, that was the guitarist in Body Count, Ernie C. Yeah, it was Body Count who famously released that song called Cop Killer, which ended up being like one of the most controversial tunes of the 80s.
God, I'm surprised. And number 2 on Top of the Pops. Dun, 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 dun.
Special thanks to the Ulawapai tribe.
Read the Berkeley book. Yeah, Burke.
Play the Universal Soldier video game. Go on, Ollie, play the game.
The game can fuck off.
Do you not like video games? Or do you not like Dolph Lundgren? Which is it?
I don't want to play that game. A reskin of fucking Turrican. Oh dear.
That was good. That was fun.
Well, folks, hope you enjoyed the commentary. Me and Rob will be back very soon with Alien Covenant with Nick Hell. And we will be launching another episode of Genre Drome very soon with Attack of the Clones.
Yes, check out Genre Drome.
Take care, everyone, and goodbye for now.
Goodbye.